Wraith calls to you. I call to you.
In 2014, Monolith Productions gave new life to video games set in Middle-earth with Shadow of Mordor's Nemesis system, creating a hierarchy of enemy orcs that remember every victory and loss. Judging by the improvements made to the latest game in the series, Shadow of War, Monolith has been working on the system ever since. There's an impressive amount of updates, but are they enough to carry the player all the way to this journey's end?
How much are you willing to sacrifice?
I have given up everything.
Not everything.
You simultaneously control both Talion the Ranger and the Wraith of Celebrimbor, the elf who forged the Rings of Power. Joined together, they seek to overthrow Sauron and seize control of Mordor. The mission unites them with new characters like Eltariel, Blade of Galadriel, and Karnan, an Ent-like being with earthly powers. Their story bits are never emotionally inspiring, but they're given more screen time than in the previous game. Shelob, the Shadow Spider, plays a big role in the sequel due to her sudden new ability to transform into a woman who advises Talion on his quest. She has questionable motives and lots of secrets to reveal, but her tale isn't as engaging as Talion's plot for revenge in Shadow of Mordor. The banter between the two leads and all the extra lore aren't nearly as memorable as the interactions you have with enemy orcs, like one that has an unhealthy obsession with ghouls, or a bard who writes special songs to celebrate your failures.
The legend of Talion ends each time. This is how I remember your name.
The story quests serve to support Nemesis 2.0, and that's about it. Hunting down orcs to recruit or kill is still very fun, and there's more to manage once they're enlisted. You can summon one as your bodyguard, or send them to spy on captains. The game loves to catch you unprepared. Your troops can betray you or refuse to be dominated, and assassins track you down at the worst possible moments. There are several armies to manage, all controlled by an overlord that you eventually appoint after you take each fortress. The Nemesis system has been improved all around. If you invest more time into army missions, your orcs will be higher in level, and you'll have more stock in their future. There are 5 zones to explore, more than in Shadow of Mordor, and it takes less time to gain access to them all. 4 of these zones have fortresses to overrun. Like everything else in the Nemesis system, each base's war chiefs and warlords are different for every player. You can plan for each offensive and purchase upgrades for each of the soldiers you choose to bring with you. You can make sieges easier by clearing out war chiefs ahead of time, or take on the highest ranks all at once. Sieges are brief, but clever spectacles that feel like a natural evolution of the system. The maps you conquer have lots of colorful variety, from the warm tropical forests of Nurnen to the blistering lava flows of Gorgoroth. Instead of being forced to stay in one zone before moving on, you quickly encounter new areas. The crusade begins in Minas Ithil, just across the valley from Minas Tirith. The soldiers of Gondor patrol the streets and back you up on occasion, breaking up the parade of Oryx that runs through most of Mordor. You pillage each environment at super speed as well, picking up troops, gear, gems to boost that gear, and other collectibles. A double jump leads the new set of movement abilities, helping you get around more quickly and to land more precisely when being stealthy. You can also tame and summon various beasts, now including drakes, to decimate Uruk armies from above. If you're really in a hurry, there are chests in the market that can unlock additional captains, armor pieces, and weapons. These can be purchased with coins you find on the battlefield, and there are much rarer gold chests that you can also buy with real money. We prefer gathering our own officers instead of buying them, opting for an army of trophies instead of strangers. We were swimming in regular coins by the end of the campaign, but gold coins are the only way to get an XP boost. The prospect is tempting, but we never felt like our progression was stunted in order to force us into paying. The market as a whole is easy to ignore, unless you get tired of the grind. Using the right skills and getting better at managing multiple strong enemies in combat will save you the time and repetition by rushing in early. Despite the various settings, most of the activities are based on the same thing, capturing or killing orcs. There are a lot of personalities to square off against, but the practice can get old, especially for those that already built up an army in Shadow of Mordor. Dominating each captain and war chief before taking a fortress is enjoyable, but characters and dialogue can start to repeat. With a thin plot set in a universe that's already covered so much ground, there isn't much to get invested in, even with an unusual epilogue that invites the player to keep looting and defending. The rules change a bit at this point, but you might not feel the need to keep scraping for a few extra bits of strange lore.
It is not noble men we are dominating, but savage orcs. And it is with this army that all Sauron has wrought will be undone.
Many of the best moments in Shadow of War come from elements returning from the first game, along with a few squabbles between Celebrimbor and Talion that begin to give them some identity. Otherwise, orcs always take center stage. The combat isn't terribly difficult, but it's a lot of fun to rip enemies apart. The story isn't very satisfying, but it's amusing to assemble a cast of murderous captains. Shadow of War is a successful update to a smart formula, but it lacks enough depth and diversity to keep us enthralled.
We must hold to our purpose, no matter what the cost.
Easy Allies reviews are made possible by generous viewers just like you. If you like what you see, check out patreon.com/easyallies to see our other videos, and consider becoming a patron to help us make more.